So this is the Sacred Path School podcast. This is series 2, episode 15. So this is the third session with back with my good friend Peter Bowden, also known as Wombly Matu, and also known as Growling Bear. And I should mention as well, so thanks first of all for there's made some really nice feedback on the first 2 discussions that we've had. And I should also let you know that if you do want to see the video, you can see the video on YouTube. So it's the Sacred Path School on YouTube. And the podcast is on, I should say, all the good streaming platforms. It's on Apple Podcasts and also Buzzsprout and those sorts of things. So you can get all that. Now, Peter, we're going to start as we usually do with opening space. And I think you're going to open space for us.
Yes.
Yep.
So we're just going to light the sage as we always do. Sage for cleansing and purifying, creating sacred space.
And I'm going to light sage at the same time.
Yeah, you're going to light yours. Cool. So here we go. A whole created great spirit is I, your grandson, Wombly Matu. And I send a voice now, a voice of deep prayer and deep gratitude for sitting here with my brother Alistair and for sitting to share this podcast and this sharing. And as we do, we offer the smoke to our highest and to our divine, to Creator, to Great Spirit, to Wankantunka, to Ba'ami, whoever is our highest. We offer the smoke. We offer the smoke to Mama Earth, to all relations, to all that is seen and unseen on Mama Earth. We offer the smoke to our highest and to our divine. So much gratitude. We offer the smoke to the grandmothers and grandfathers of the east, to the south, to the west, and to the north. Tankeshla grandmother, Tankeshla grandfather. Here we welcome the grandmothers and grandfathers. Here in this space we acknowledge uncles, aunties, brothers, sisters, mothers, fathers, all relations. And here we acknowledge the custodians of this land. So we give thanks to the custodians of this land for allowing us to sit and share in this space, for allowing us to be present here now. And as we do, may we drop in to share the wisdom of what we're sharing today. As we sit and stand on the bones of our ancestors, we give thanks to this space, no time, no space, just the presence of where we are right here, right now. From my heart to your heart, acknowledge you as a brother and look forward to sharing as a brother. Aho Matekwiasan.
Aho Matekwiasan.
I'm just going to put this just outside while I smoke today.
You set off your smoke alarms.
Yeah. Lots of smoke.
Okay.
It took off really quickly, and do you know what that's a good sign of? Hello?
What?
It's a good
sign. So go on.
Yeah, it's a good sign of the ancestors being here.
Yeah. I think as well, always, and we've talked about this a lot over the years, is always whether like lighting sage or lighting fires to like pay attention to how it lights, how it burns, what direction it burns in.
Mm-hmm.
Always, I think as we've talked before, the universe is alive with consciousness.
It is, and many times the fire has lit in many different directions, and depending on how fast or how slow it burns, that kind of thing. Remembering too, we're sitting here today to share on the cusp of winter solstice.
Yes.
Shortest day.
Yes. And
Shortest
that's
day,
what
longest night.
that's what I was thinking. Because last time we finished off, we talked quite a lot about the drum, about making drums and about the importance of the drum and like how to use a drum. And I thought this time it would be really good to talk about ceremony. And especially because as you just said, it's now the 19th of June, so we're a couple of days away from so in here in Australia it's the winter solstice. In the northern hemisphere it's the summer solstice. So winter solstice is the shortest day of the year, the longest night. And I wonder if you could just actually, if we're talking about ceremony, if you could talk about in walking the sacred path, like following these teachings, what is the role of ceremony and why is ceremony so important?
There's a lot of reasons for ceremony, but to me, ceremony creates a space that intention and healing and awakening and releasing can be held. And ceremony can be held on the solstices, the equinoxes, the full moons, the new moons. It can be held in the morning, it can be held in the evening. It's for creating sacred space, a safe, sacred space. And ceremony is used in many ways, and it just depends on the intention. And the biggest thing I find is the foundation of the ceremony, or the foundation of the teachings behind the ceremony, is so important. And I find what is the foundation of ceremony? What is the foundation behind why you're doing it or why you're holding a ceremony? And, a lot of the cultures around the world had foundations in their teachings around holding ceremony. And to me, whether you're indigenous to your homeland or whether you're being shared with by elders from other lands, I mean, it's good to acknowledge the foundations of their teachings and what they bring forward for you with your belief system, with your customs, with your ceremony, with your ability to be able to hold the ceremony. And, ceremony is, like I said, is actually acknowledging the sacred space that we're creating, but it's also acknowledging the ancestors and the ancient ones and our bloodlines and grandmothers, grandfathers, all relations. And, Mother Earth, Father Sky, Grandmother Moon, Grandfather Sun, great star nation, the great mystery, our highest and divine, ceremony is acknowledging all aspects of all that have gone before us and all that walk with us now. And
Let's start at the beginning. And so with ceremony, as you said, especially with, I always hesitate to say all the indigenous traditions, but pretty much all the indigenous traditions, it's again, it's a circular, like there's ceremonies throughout the year in significant times, and it is very much related to the movement of the cosmos. So whether it be full moon, new moon, equinoxes, solstice, etc. And you talked about at the start of a ceremony creating sacred space. So what does it mean to create? What is sacred space? What does it mean to create sacred space? And why is it so important to create sacred space in a ceremony?
We create sacred space in a ceremony. The first thing is to create the container of safety for ourselves and for those that are participating in the ceremony. And what I mean by safety, it's not safety against other people or things like that that feel like they're going to harm us, but it's creating a sacred space of energies, and it's a container of energies that we are setting around the perimeter of the ceremonial space where we are holding the space, the ground that we walk on, the ground that we sit on. So to me, and we invite or we ask the ancestors to, the allies, the relations, to sit in that space with us, and they hold and we ask to hold the memory of all that's gone before us. And to me, that's the reason we create sacred space for ceremony, so that we can connect into or feel the presence of all and know that we are held in that space. We are
So really
held
establishing intention
on that space.
and it's recognizing the interconnected nature across time.
There is no time.
There is no time.
There is no time. We step into sacred space. We step into a portal within time. There is no time. Time within time. And time is a constraint that has been man-made. It's time is limitless. It's only we've created this illusion of time.
So in creating a sacred space, you're creating a space where, as you say, you're protecting it from intrusion from like negative forces, entities, that sort of stuff.
Energies that want to come and participate or could. I don't believe, like I said, in good or bad, but I believe in shadow and light.
Yeah.
Okay. So everything happens for a reason. And, some people say it's good or some people say it's bad. To me, it is what it is. And in this space, we don't want to look at time as a time of, hey, we've got to be finished in an hour. We want it to be that in this space, we're here for whatever happens, whatever it takes, whether it's shadow, whether it's light, whatever happens in this space is meant to happen within this presence. And it's like creating a portal, a safety net portal around us. And the portal can go up and down, it can go within, it can go without, and we can send it out into the mystery as well. So
two things. So one, actually declaring our intention to create a safe space, and then secondly, like I think in all the traditions, isn't it, there's an element of burning something or drumming. So we've just burnt white sage, which is American Indian tradition. Australian Aborigines burn like a smoking ceremony, same sort of thing, clearing the energies. Africa, you burn in pepu, which is the same sort of thing.
Palo South Santo. America, Palo Santo. The priests and nuns of Asia, they burn incense, to create safe space, sacred space.
Frankincense in the church.
Frankincense and myrrh.
Okay, so we started our ceremony, we created safe space, and you talked about the most basic of ceremonies, I suppose, is like daily ceremony.
Yeah, basic daily, your own daily practice, your own daily ceremony. Your daily practice becomes your own ceremony. And I always feel it's great to light a little bit of sage, burn a candle, have a little bit of a bowl of water, for your own practice. And in that practice of whatever is your daily practice becomes your mastery of that practice.
Mm.
So, and that's your basic first ceremony.
And so a daily practice is going to be taking some time in the morning to establish, to center yourself, ground yourself, set your intention for the day.
Morning, noon, night,
Night.
whenever you want to do it. I always believe the most potent time is the magic hour of sunrise and sunset.
Yeah.
To me, we give thanks that we've woken up today. Let's give thanks for this day as we move into the shadow of the night. So we've moved into the light of the day. We move into the shadow of the night.
Yeah.
We give thanks for that before we go to sleep. And if we
Mm.
wake up again tomorrow, hey, it's another great day.
Mm.
Mm.
And then from there, we might have a monthly sweat lodge ceremony, a nipi.
Full moon, new moon.
Can we
There's all.
talk a bit about sweat lodge, about why would you do sweat lodge? What's the benefit of doing sweat lodge? What sort of ceremony is it?
Okay, sweat lodge there's a couple of reasons for sweat lodge. It's a purification ceremony. So it's a cleansing, it's a renewal. So it's good to sit sweat lodge every month, so that you can cleanse and purify to release anything that you want to release during that month. It's also a rebirthing ceremony. So when you come to lodge, you get down on your hands and knees and you ask, can you come into lodge to be with the ancestors, to be with the allies? And then when you come out, you again get down on your hands and knees and you say, thank you for allowing me to share my prayers, sing my songs, let me speak what needs to be spoken in ceremony.
Mm.
And you have brothers and sisters witnessing you in that ceremony. And sweat lodge is it's fire. It's the ancestors, the stones are the masculine, and they're brought into the womb of the earth in lodge to have the water poured on it so that we can sweat and purify to be reborn again as we leave from the masculine and feminine. And we're planting seeds, bringing the ancestors, the masculine in to the feminine is where we're birthing seed of life, seed to be reborn again, to rebirth as we step out of lodge. And to me, sweat lodge is one of the most amazing, profound ceremonies I've ever done.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
for healing, for purification, for prayer, for everything, Yeah. And
And
all
maybe
about it.
let's talk a bit more about sweat lodge, because as you know, we've done lots of sweat lodges together, and the sweat lodge that you actually taught me was the Dawn Star Lodge. And there's, suppose, a couple of things to note with that. So the foundation of all these teachings is the medicine wheel, which is obviously the circular, going round and round and round, the circular walk, the four directions. And in sweat lodge, you're going into, when you build the sweat lodge, it's a turtle shell, really, isn't it? It's the shape of a turtle shell, and you're going into the turtle shell. So you're going into Mother Earth and do the 4 rounds around the east, south, west, north, to be, as you said, like reborn into a new cycle.
Yeah. And I mean, I was taught 2 types of lodge. There was the star lodge, which was when you build the lodge, you have the star at the top, the 8-pointed star.
Yeah.
And when you want to keep it contained and grounded, we do what we call the earth lodge, which doesn't have the star, it just has the crossover at the top. Okay, so the Earth Lodge keeps you grounded, and we tend to do more Earth Lodge when we're doing healing ceremonies and that kind of thing. As a lot smaller lodge, the Star Lodge takes us out into the mystery, whereas the Earth Lodge grounds us in.
Mm.
And so, yes, we have the sacred teachings of the lodge, the foundations of the lodge, and Sweat Lodge is such an ancient ceremony. It's an ancient ceremony. And, we say it goes back way before the time before time. And in Lodge, everything in life, in a lot of traditional cultures, revolves around the cycles of life. Not only the
Yeah.
medicine wheel, but the cycles of the sun, from moving from daybreak to sunset, going through the night in the other hemisphere of the world. We go from shadow to light. The seasons, the spring, the summer, the autumn, the winter, the dawning of the new day, the midday, the setting sun, the midnight. We also, as men and women and people on earth, go through our own cycles. We go through our birth, our young child, our childhood, our adolescence, young man, young woman, becoming family, then moving on to eldership. From eldership, we transition to end of life, and then maybe be reborn again, if people
Mm.
believe in rebirth or not, with whatever you believe in. We transition in cycles of life, and we have all these cycles, the moon cycles in the evening sky.
Yeah.
Men, we say that men work with the sun, and we have men's teachings around the sun lodge, and women work with the moon, with their moon cycles and the blood of the earth, whereas we work with the sun, the warmth of the earth. We're doing, and the feminine is nurturing. And it's not to say that neither can do both,
Mm.
but it's the cycles and everything, even the stars in the cosmos, they cycle. They
Mm.
cycle around the sun. They cycle around the great star nation. They cycle around, and is it a circle? Is it an eclipse? But we look at the circle as a cycle. It's never ending, no beginning, no end.
Mm.
Always moving, always evolving. Okay, we if you look at a spiral, the spiral starts either on the inside of the circle and spirals out, so we're journeying out. If we start on the outside of the circle, we spiral in to the center. And the center, or the innermost part of the spiral, has no space, no time. It
Mm.
can take us up, out into the mystery, or can take us within our being, the heart of ourselves. It can take us into the core of the earth. It can take us into the awakening of the great mystery.
Mm.
So circles, circles within cycles, cycles within circles.
So in the moon cycle,
Mm.
when should you do lodge?
Okay, there's two answers to that. The first one is, a lot of people love to do lodge on full moon, because full moon is the awakening. It's a time of the greatest light on the earth. But then the new moon is the shadow, and we can go into the shadow and do lodge in that dark night of the soul, so to speak. And what we say in my teachings of the Dawn Star is that we have two roads to walk on the earth. We have the good red road, and we have the black road. The black road runs from east to west, I think we've talked about this already, haven't
Yep.
we?
Yep.
Yeah. And so, and the Good Red Road walks from south to north. So, but they all the roads meet in the centre. All the roads meet in the centre. And what's in the centre? Well, we say Creator, Great Spirit, Onkantonka, or Bayami is the Aboriginal Great Spirit, or our highest and divine. You know, we all meet in these spaces.
Mm.
Yeah.
So if you know, and we both know how hard it is to have the opportunity to sit in lodge, and like not all of us have the opportunity to have like land to be able to like build a lodge and sit in lodge, and when the opportunity does arise, it's a great privilege to be able to do that. But if you have, like, a lot of people now are able to go to a sauna or a spa or something like that, whether it be a gym or a healing center or something like that, right? And so in terms of talking about like how to walk a sacred path in life, so we talked a lot about um, the four directions, medicine wheel, stuff like that. And so the role of the sweat lodge is in the cycle of purification and renewal.
Yes.
So if you have an opportunity, if you don't have opportunity to sit in lodge, but you have an opportunity to go and sit in a sauna, how can you apply the teaching to your urban life and being able to use a sauna?
This is the thing now. We're adapting these traditions um, to our daily lives. And sitting in a sauna, wow, you can set intention before you go in. You can
Mhm.
do your 4 rounds, one for each direction.
So wait,
Think,
wait, let me just, sorry, jump in.
yeah,
So obviously you can't go to the gym and start burning sage or
no,
something,
no.
right? So what would it look like? You might get
I,
kicked out of there.
mind you, I sat in a sauna in Bali once. I was the only one there sitting in the sauna,
Yeah,
and um, I was singing a lot for each of the rounds.
yeah,
And I came out, and the Balinese guy that was sitting there said, "Were you singing in that sauna?"
yeah.
And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "I've never heard anyone sing in a sauna before." And I just went, "Wow, it's part of my teachings to sing in the rounds. We sing, we share, we pray." And he said, "I've never heard anyone do that before." But you can sing, you can pray sitting in the sauna.
Mm,
You can hold your intentions knowing what each of the sacred directions mean, the
mm,
the representation of the directions, and whatever they mean for you is what you can pray for. You might
mm.
want to go in for 20-minute rounds for your sauna. Um, you know, um, yeah,
But if we start at the beginning though, so let's say uh, you're at the gym or going to the gym or going to the healing center. So the setting intention is just sit down and pause before you
yeah.
go in there.
Take a
Connect with
few
the
minutes to
breath.
breathe and yeah, pause for
Yep,
a moment and connect to your wamachi, your sacred breath, and just feel, why do I want to do this today?
yep,
What is important about me for doing this today? And again, you can do it on the full moon. You can do it anytime,
yep,
okay? Throughout the moon cycle or throughout the yearly cycle. But think about going and having a sauna, and just having a sauna is great for purification. But then if you want to once a month set your intention to do
yep,
a ceremonial one, you can do that as well.
yep. So
Yeah,
then, so we've set our intention. We've stepped into the sauna with all the sweaty people in the sauna.
yeah,
And our first task is what? Open sacred space.
for ourselves. Yeah, we
Yep,
open sacred space. How do we do that? If you're not allowed to burn sage, or if you can't burn incense or anything like that, just a prayer.
yep,
Just a prayer honoring the ancestors. Like I speak the prayer when I come in, you can create your own prayer. And to acknowledge the ancestors, that, or your bloodline, and just go, hey, thank you for
Yeah.
allowing me to be here. Yeah.
So we're really, in creating a prayer, we're really acknowledging the interconnected nature of all things. So
Yes.
Ahom Tequias, I honor all my relations.
Yeah.
The energies of creator or great spirit or whatever the highest of high is for you above, Mother Earth, the spirits of Mother Earth, and then the energies of the four sacred directions.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we create sacred space, and we probably maybe wouldn't do that out loud in the sauna. Might get a few
No.
weird looks.
No, if you're there by yourself, yes. If there's other people there, and you can do this. Highest and divine, left hand on your heart. Okay? Then take your left hand and offer it to the east,
Yep.
to the south, to the west,
Yep.
to the north. You can
Yep.
also offer it to above, below, and all that is within. And that's just around. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. A whole.
yeah.
Yeah. And then, okay, so create sacred space, and then we're going to open the east is the first round.
And east, what's east about?
East is spirit. East is the color is yellow. The animal is the eagle that flies above, and it's about honoring and welcoming spirit into our lives. And I would say in Sweat Lodge, what I found in Sweat Lodge is people often go into doing Sweat Lodge because they want to let go of something.
Mm.
And you can go straight into the first round. The first thing they want to say is, "Wow, this has happened to me," and "Wow." So they kind of want to go straight away into the West. And I always find that it's good to be able to say, wait, just before we go into all the bad stuff,
Yeah.
let's actually stay in the East for a bit and honor spirit and give thanks for the gifts of spirit that have occurred recently.
Yeah. Yeah. And remembering that East is also about the dawning of the new day. It's new beginnings. It's about birth and rebirth.
Yep.
Remember, you start in the East, you come back to the East, and you leave. Quite often, in my teachings, my doorway is in the East.
Yep.
Some doorways can be in other directions depending on your teacher and the people of the land. They might have it facing different direction. But in my teachings, we face east. So it's about birth, rebirth. It's new beginnings, the dawning of the new day, springtime. So spirit brings everything to life, in the east. So let's acknowledge spirit. Let's acknowledge our what is the highest? What is our
Mm.
highest in our, who is guiding us? Who,
Mm.
and some people may believe in the highest, some people may not. Some people may believe in God. Maybe God, um, maybe a spirit, maybe just, hey, this is my highest and divine right here in my heart.
Mm.
You know, this is
So
my.
we're sitting there. Sorry, go on.
No, go on.
I was going to say, so we're sitting there in the sauna. We're intentionally in our first round with the East round open, thinking about and telling ourselves about the gifts that we've received from spirit, the presence of spirit in our lives. And then we're probably going to go the way I think you do as well, is leave the doorway to the east open, but finish the round and
Yes.
go out. So in Sweat Lodge, you would go out or stay in if you want, bring in some more rocks, heat it all up again. But maybe in the sauna, you're going to go out and have a cold shower or something,
Yeah.
and then get ready to come back in for the second round. So the second round is,
The
you want me to tell you?
is the south. Is the south. Okay, so to me, the second round is the south, and
Yep.
there's two ways of looking at the south. South is about adolescence, growth, love, truth. It's also midday. It's summer in the southern hemisphere. We move. heart-wise to the left,
Yeah.
around, which is the where the blood flows around the body. So we move to the left, and south is again a beautiful place. It's also quite often in the south I acknowledge our sisters because they are the bringers of life.
Yeah. It's a
They
child.
they bring the child
Yeah.
into the world. You know,
I,
their birth.
I would add to that so east is spirit, so south is the color is red,
Yes,
and the animal for me is the coyote, which is the trickster, and it's the innocence of the child, and like being able to reconnect with our like childlike passions and things that
yes,
and we'll talk about the West in a minute, but often, if you look at children in our lives, they're so free. They're
yes,
not burdened by all the you should do this or you should do that. They're free to, or hopefully they're free to, be who they really are,
yeah,
and to
yeah,
connect with that is really lovely.
yeah. It's their growth. It's their young adolescence. You know, um, children are so free, and the innocence of children. Sometimes we've just got to take a look at it and go, "Wow, you know, here you are." You know,
Mm,
and we forget that we can be that in our lives as well.
mm,
The innocence of and sometimes life is hard, but acknowledge that young child, that young man or young woman of who you are, and let them know that it's
mm,
safe to be who you are right now. That
yeah,
the young child, you're an adult now, but the young child still can be held by the adult and that they are safe,
yeah, yeah,
no matter what you've been through.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So in this round, again, if you're sitting on your own in the sauna, you might be thinking about the gifts of the children that are in your life, and also,
Yes.
as you say, remembering like what you're passionate about as a child, and how your passions and like childlike self is coming through. And
Yeah.
then same, so then we would finish that round, leave the doorway open but close the round, go out, come back in again. And then the third round is the west,
Yes.
always the funnest round in the sweat lodge.
It's usually the hottest round.
We try in pouring lodge, you try and make it as hot as possible, hey.
Hey, that's it. Let's sweat it out here. This is this is you as a man and as a woman coming together now.
Yes.
We it's our place of healing as well. It's our place of healing as a man and a woman. It's to surrender anything now that does not serve our highest.
Mm. Mm.
And not that we want to suffer, but we want to really awaken into our strength and our courage to face these
Mm.
fears of
Mm.
what we want to face, in the West. And
I always like the analogy like that people get is in Star Wars, most people watch Star Wars, in The Empire Strikes Back. when, when when Luke's on the planet of whatever the planet is, he finds Yoda, and
yes,
as he's doing his training, he keeps running past this cave, and Yoda says, "Well, going to," he says to Yoda, "What's in the cave?" And Yoda says, "Go in there and find out." And I always think about the West. So in the West, the color
it's
is
the cave.
black,
It's the cave.
and the animal is the black bear. And I
Yep.
always think about it in terms of going into the cave, and it's where we face our deepest fears, but also it's where we find our courage.
Yeah. To face our fears.
Mm.
Yeah. Remember, it's also the time of the setting sun. So
Mm.
the night creatures are settling down for the night.
Yep.
The birth of night is starting. It's that magic hour of sunset. So we're preparing now to journey. It's also autumn in the
Mm.
seasons. It's
Mm.
where we're journeying to go in. It's that place of introspection to start to journey to go into shadow,
Mm.
So I look at the West as I look. West is such a great round. If you've been through
West is what? Say that again.
it's such a great round. If you've been through the
I was,
East, and the south, and you move into the west, you
I
kind
always
of
think
go,
it's interesting, like, to see where people end up, especially if you're in lodge and there's a lot of people going into lodge, who ends up sitting in the west.
yes. And who are they? Why are they there? They're usually the ones who need to
Yeah,
shift something the most out of it. I
yeah,
remember I used to pour so many lodges, and one year we were doing the men's vision quest, and I think I poured heaps of lodges, and I said to my assistant at that time to, you pour the lodge today, and I'm going to go and sit in the west. And I sat in the west, and I virtually shrunk. I'm kind of going, I can't stand it in here. It's so hot, and yet I could sit in the eastern four lodges all day and want to keep going. And I'm sitting in the west. I'm going, man, I'm not pouring it. I'm not holding the space. I'm not holding the energy. I'm just here to receive. And I'm like, oh, I just want to get out of here. I'm kind of humbled by the heat in the west.
I think as well, and whether it's lodge or sitting in sauna, lodge is a more intense experience. But
Yeah, lodge can get a
I
lot
always
hotter.
find that by the time you get to the west, you can be so like pushed. I always call it edge work, because you're like pushed out of your capacity to kind of intellectually cope with what's actually going on, and at
Mhm.
some point you just have to surrender.
Yes.
And the surrender part is surrendering to the breath, and then maybe eventually surrendering to the earth,
Yes.
feeling the
Yeah.
earth's going to catch you. And we should actually note as well, like in each round, there's traditional songs to sing in each round. And I always love the West song is Mother, I Feel You Under My Feet.
Yeah.
So actually acknowledging that even when you fall down, Mother Earth is going to catch you, and is going to be there to catch you. And that's a real, reconnection, real grounding with the energy of the earth, yeah, of where we come from. So
Mhm.
then the West, again, and it should actually note as well. So if you're sitting in lodge, you're journeying together,
Yeah.
and your the round finishes when everybody's finished.
Yes.
So if
Every
you're like someone like you is like suffering, bad luck, buddy.
yeah.
So,
It's not finished in each round is the same.
yeah,
You're not finished in each round until everybody finishes. When you're sitting in the sauna for yourself,
yeah,
if you've done your prayers and you've felt what you've needed to feel, open the door, step out.
yeah, yeah. And
Um,
same. So we would leave the door open, leave the door to the direction open, finish
yeah.
the round, go out, come back in, and then so the fourth round, the last round. Oh,
The last round is the north. It's the elders, it's the ancestors, it's the place of transition. It's also the place of where we're, if we look at the journey of life, the north is the place of, it's a place of wisdom, it's a place of knowledge, but it's a place where the elders sit. But the elders are then sitting to transition from life to be reborn again, and or to move through the cycles again, whatever the cycle is for you. But to me, um, knowledge, wisdom, abundance, where we give thanks for the abundance of our life.
yeah,
What have we journeyed through in this life, and why am I here sitting in the place of the ancestors now? It's the buffalo.
yeah. The white
It's
buffalo.
the white buffalo. The white buffalo is the, we say, is represents the ancestors. It represents yeah, the elders. It represents who we are as we get to our eldership and
Yeah,
move through our eldership.
and the color is white.
Yep.
And I always find in the north, it's good to ask people, or like to think about, like, what are the elders that are showing up in your life what are the gifts of wisdom that have come into your life. So it might be like a book, an amazing book has come into your life.
Yeah.
It might be that like you've met some amazing like old person who you've had a conversation just out of the blue that's really made you stop and think. Anything like that, just acknowledging that the wisdom and that's come in.
Yeah. And to me, it's a preparation time in the north. It's a preparation time for what's next. You know, and it's also a deep gratitude for the journey around not only life, but around the wheel and around where you're at right now, so that you're preparing yourself to come to the eastern doorway again to be reborn.
Yeah.
You know, and so if you haven't shared or haven't released what you need to release from your circle or what you've been experiencing, the north is the place to do it now.
Yeah.
You know, it's the place. You've called on your courage in the west, you've called on your strength, you've called on that. Now it's the wisdom time. It's the wisdom time. And in my wisdom here in the north, I surrender this now.
Yeah. So then we finish that round and then go back. Do you go back around? You go back around to the east and close the doors and give thanks. Yeah.
Yes.
So we go back to where you started from, close the door to the east and give thanks for the gifts of spirit. Close the door to the south and give thanks for being able to connect with the childlike aspects of self and life. Close the door to the west and give thanks for being able to release the things that are burdening you and being able to find your courage. Close the door to the north and give thanks for the wisdom that's come into your life. Release those that have traveled with us. So whoever you invited in, release it, release the energy, and then step out, prepare to step out to be reborn anew.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, Matekwi Arson. Well, it feels good. We have flashbacks now.
Oh, Matekwi Arson. And that means we are all related.
Yeah.
And we are honoring all relations.
Yeah. So I think, like I said, being able to do that ceremony, like whether you can, obviously the ultimate is to be able to sit in lodge with brothers and sisters and actually do it like that. But if you can't do that, to be able to consciously recognize that, I think a lot of us in the world that we're living in now can be like really overwhelmed with stuff, like especially being overwhelmed with huge amounts of information, bombarded like negative shit that's happening in the world, etc. And it's really, really useful to be able to, on a monthly basis, be able to just sit and do the renewal ceremony of Sweat Lodge. For me personally, I would like to do it on the full moon because I like the energy of the full moon. But as you said as well, to do it on a new moon is good for resetting your intention. Now that brings us, so now we've got medicine wheel, we've been doing drumming, we're doing our monthly Sweat Lodge, and now we're coming up to solstice in a couple of days. So now what's the significance of solstice, and maybe you talk about it from the perspective, or actually maybe from both perspectives, because obviously we're in the southern hemisphere, so we're coming up to the winter solstice. What's the significance and what should we be doing?
To me, I always see it's the shadow time, winter solstice. It's the longest night. We've all journeyed through some trauma. We still hold something in our bodies. We want to release. It's a great place to call on your courage and your wisdom, to go your strength to face fears in the longest night, the dark night of the soul. Okay, I look at it as winter solstice is our shadow time. I remember I used to do 3-4 day workshop over the winter solstice, and we would journey into our shadow to be reborn into the light, because remembering from that night, the shortest night of the year, we are moving again to the light of the equinox, which is the summer equinox, which is the longest day of the year. So we're moving from the least amount
Solstice.
of sun in the winter solstice to the summer solstice, where there's the most sun and light on the planet, and the least amount on the planet in the winter solstice. So it is dark night, it is cold in winter. Okay, in our winter here in summer in southern hemisphere, it's winter. You know, it's that time to snuggle up and be warm. You know, but it's also that time to remember, reflect who you are, why you're here. Yes, it's hard to do that sometimes in the cold, but that's where you breathe deeper into your strength and into your courage to face the fear of the cold, to face the fear of, and we go through it every year. Every year, it is part of our journey. The summer solstice, the winter solstice. You know, it's the same as the seasons: the spring, the summer, the autumn, the winter. You know, it's part of our cycle of life.
Do you connect this with the Equinox Vision Quest, and do you check in at the solstice of basically what's happened since you did Vision in? So we haven't really spoke about doing Vision Quest briefly, but
Vision.
Vision Quest you would do traditionally in the March equinox, equal day, equal night.
Yeah, the March equinox, which is the autumn equinox. Yeah, so Vision Quest is where we sit for 4 days, 4 nights. We usually start. It's a 4-year cycle. So we usually start in my teachings. People sit for 24 hours for the first one, then for the second one you sit for 48 hours. Then for the third and the fourth you sit for 4 days.
And why are you doing Vision Quest?
Vision Quest is
quick answer. Come on.
Vision Quest is to seek a direction or vision of your life.
Yep.
You know, what is it that you want to create in your life? What is it that you want to bring forward in your life? Vision is, and you can call it in or you can allow it to come in. You know, so there's 2 ways to sit in vision, and you can sit in each direction while you're sitting in the days or you know, if it's 24 hours, you spend roughly around 6 hours in each direction. If it's 2 days, you sit half a day in each direction. If it's 4 days, you sit 1 day and 1 night in each direction. Yeah. So, you know, I mean, to me, vision is again another amazing ceremony. It's you know, there's the preparation. There's 3 months of preparation leading into it, and then there's the what does your vision bring, and you don't need to know the answer of your vision. You might only get parts of it when you're sitting on the land or standing on the land or doing whatever, but you're in that space of nurturing yourself. Some people do no food, no water. My teachings, we do no food, no water. Some people do water. Some traditions only do water, but you do not eat. You have someone eating for you to nourish, you know, and, you know, you do your prayer ties, you hold your prayers. We believe in my teachings that there was 102 spirits in each direction. So when it comes to doing prayer ties, you've got to do 408, and we wear them around our neck. And, you know, and with 408 prayer ties wearing around the neck, you know, you're holding your prayer for each direction, the above, the below, so within, you know, you're holding these prayers, and it could be one prayer, it could be a multiple of prayers, and prayer ties are like tobacco offerings into a little coloured piece of cloth, and you tie them on, no knots, you tie them onto a continuous piece of string. But you know, we wear them while we're visioning, and then we offer them. we've talked about this too, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And really about
But
deeply stirring intention, isn't it?
intention, it's
Yeah.
really about awakening your intention for life, awakening your intention for who you are. What is it that you want to be as a man or even as a woman? What do you want in yourself? What is it that you want to bring forward for you, for your family, for your children, for life? They're the most
And,
important things. Yeah, go on.
yeah, sorry. And then I was going to say, and then in doing Vision Quest, you're really incorporating a whole lot of the other things we've talked about. So
All the
acknowledging the
ceremonies.
circular cycle, acknowledging the cycles of the moon, that sort of stuff. Obviously doing smudging before you're going into the space. There's a sweat lodge to start Vision Quest for purification, sweat lodge dust off to come out again. And then with the Vision Quest,
Even drinking the
because
first cup of water.
oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, drinking that first cup of water when you come out of lodge after the 4 days of not eating and drinking, and you drink that water for the first time. It's like, wow. You receive half a cup before you go out. You drink your last cup of water, and then you drink your first cup when you come back, and it's like, wow, yeah. So it's all of that. Go on. You were gonna.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, a lot of it is really about just making yourself stop, because I think so many people in this day and age, we don't take enough time just to stop. So obviously you can't take your mobile phone with you and stuff like that. So you do actually have to stop. And secondly, stepping out of the comfort zone. So stepping out again, it's edge work. So forcing yourself into a situation that sort of logically and rationally sounds ridiculous. So you think when you say to people, "Oh yeah, I'm going to go and sit in a parental circle for 24 hours with no food or water, and deal with the elements." I think it was last year, the year before, it poured with rain all night when the guys did it. There was some wild dogs came and visited them in the middle of the night. But it's really stepping beyond the rational mind and allowing you to open up to spirit.
Yeah, it's stepping beyond the mind, and that's where you've got to. That's where a lot of us don't do that anymore in this day and age. A lot of people don't do that anymore. But visioning is stepping beyond the rational mind to have a reset of our being, so that we can be renewed again for what is next. What is next in our life.
So then if we connect it to solstice, so we've done Vision Quest in March equinox, and then it's really 3 months later we've got solstice. So we've basically gone in southern hemisphere, we've gone down, or into the depths or into the darkness of the cave internally.
Yeah.
And now we're about to change direction.
Now we're about to change direction. Now we're about to move into the time of spring. Yeah, and move forward towards the light again.
So what should we be doing? What should people be doing in the southern hemisphere
when they move back towards the light?
Mm-hmm.
So in the southern hemisphere, it's that renewal time. It's that birth time. It's that time where so spring is a new life. It's new growth. It's preparing ourselves to create something new in our lives. We're now like, oh, what project do I want to birth to start preparing for the next year, maybe, or something like that.
Or 6 months through to the
6 months,
summer solstice? Yeah,
through to the summer solstice. And then the summer solstice is that time where we are really in the project of having it birthed, having it, so, and then we work on the process again, and anything that when we come back to winter solstice, if the project that you're working on is going on, it's a time of, okay, we honor it, we acknowledge it, and then we renew it again. We go through the same cycle through the year again.
And if you're in the northern hemisphere now and you're about to go into
Summer
summer solstice, what should you be doing?
now is in the northern hemisphere. Now is the time for like I said, it's that time where things are really being established. Like it's your your journey of life is really about being solid in life right now. It's the awakening time. It's the time of, wow, this is the doing now. Whereas the winter solstice is the inward time of resting. Whereas now this is about doing life. Summer solstice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right. Now, we wanted to talk about, as a way of sort of finishing off this conversation, about the path of freedom versus the path of high adventure. Because when you do these ceremonies, so when you do, whether it be all night ceremonies or drumming or journeys, all that sort of stuff, it can be very seductive to, what would you call it, kind of the ego, would you say?
You can be very drawn into ego spaces. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with having ego, because ego is a driving force. But when ego takes over and drives you even further, you can go deep into places that you're not certain of, and it takes you on roads of high adventure. It takes you on, look at me, look at what I'm doing, and we forget that, hey, it's not about the road of high adventure. We want to conquer everything, or we want to move through everything as much as possible. It's about, it's the road of high adventure.
How would you distinguish the two? Because, and for, if sorry, if you haven't heard, for people listening, if you haven't heard the terms before, I think really it originated with some of the Carlos Castaneda
Carlos
teachings,
Castaneda.
when he's teaching
Okay.
Don Juan's, scolding him, right, really about the path of high adventure versus the path of freedom, and really saying, as you say, that the path of high adventure is the ego driven, like, look at me, I was had this experience and it was so wild, but whereas the path of freedom is about really freedom. Would you say freedom from the ego and from the expectations of
Freedom
sort of
from,
normal world?
it's taking back our power, taking back our medicine, to find freedom in ourselves, to truly be able to walk in the consciousness of who we are, who I am, who am I right here, right now. And, there's a lot of people wanting more money, wanting more things in life. They want, and I don't want to say it's more, but they want to achieve. And sometimes it's about, look at me achieving. And there's nothing wrong with achieving, but it's achieving in a freedom way, in a positive way, or, and I don't want to call it negative, but it's we haven't fully walked the full circle of the medicine wheel if we are still in our ego. So full circle means to walk in the shadow as well as walking in the light. And in the circle, we may, in our journey of life, walk the medicine wheel several times in our lives. go into our dark nights of the soul, come back and
Lost
be
you.
reborn so that we
Okay.
can be, again, journeying into passion or into something else that we've discovered in life that becomes, wow, this is me. But do we go too far into that, or do we recognize ourselves and go, I can still sit in that humbleness and go, hey, it's okay. And then we walk that circle of high adventure or freedom.
Hmm.
Freedom. And
How would you, in the context of ceremony, what's the difference between doing ceremony on the path of high adventure and doing ceremony walking the path of freedom?
walking the path of high adventure in ceremony is doing it for the sake of doing it. It's doing it because it feels good. It feels good. And I feel good doing it, and I want everybody to see that I'm doing it. Whereas walking the path of freedom, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. You're doing it for you.
Mm.
You're doing it for you. You're doing it for your healing. You're doing it for yourself. You're doing it for your family. You're not doing it for anyone else, but you're doing it for what you feel is right for you, but in a positive way rather than I'm just doing it because it feels good to do it.
Mm.
I get such a buzz out of doing it. It just feels good. I just want to keep doing it. Chop
Mm.
wood, carry water. Come back to the basics of doing ceremony, and then that you're walking your freedom path rather than walking
Mm.
the path of, hey, it feels good.
Mm.
And there's lots of people out there that are doing that now. And I say, one thing I want to say is there's nothing wrong with walking the path of high adventure. And quite often it's usually younger people that walk the path of high adventure because it's young people discovering who they are.
Mm.
And as they journey into life, they're exploring boundaries. And as they journey into life and get some wisdom behind them, journeying into the north of the wheel, they start to realize, oh, I don't need to walk the path of high adventure anymore. I
Mm.
can now walk the path of humbleness, healing, being there for myself, and I don't have to do it for anyone else. I'm doing it for me.
Mm.
Yeah,
That's really good. I
yeah.
always think too that like especially with lodge, I think people get what they need in lodge. So if you come into lodge with that sort of ego-driven stuff going on, you're likely to be end up in the West and suffer, like, or not suffer, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you
You're
get
going
that.
through it.
Yeah. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Yeah. I think
yeah.
so. And I think what you're saying really connects with that first discussion we had.
Hello, Alice there?
Sorry, we lost you. You back again?
Yeah, I'm back
Can-
again.
Yeah, sorry. I was trying to say, what you're talking about, walking the path of freedom, is really related to that discussion we had in the first discussion about when you're talking about walking the path of beauty and you're walking the path of service and
The
honor and
red road.
respect. The red road, yeah. And I think that's a really important point to make. I think that's a good place to stop, I think.
Yeah.
stop this conversation because that was really nice.
Yeah.
Do you want to close
You
space?
can close. I
You want
open.
me to close space? I'll close space.
Yeah.
Do you want to say anything else about ceremony?
I feel ceremony has been a big journey of my life.
Me too,
And ceremony calls you. Not everybody is called to ceremony. Not everybody is called to holding space. But if it calls you, it will change your life. And, you know, but there's a big surrender in that. There's a big humbleness in that because, you know, in doing ceremony and holding space for others is we're holding that space, you know, and it's not always about following a path of high adventure. It's a path of holding the space for others to come and to learn and to grow. It's a sacrifice in some ways, and sometimes it's
sacrifice of
regret.
the ego.
Yeah, and it's a sacrifice of, in a good way, to understand who we are rather than walking a path on the black road of high adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, we may not, I mean, I feel I get whatever I need in ceremony.
Yeah.
And it's not always walking a path of, hey, I want to get more money. I want to get better things in life. I want to, you know, have a big car and have a big house. And, you know, we may not always get those things. But I get my same sort of euphoria from holding space and seeing people journey and heal and explore other ways of being in that. And I go, wow, you know, I've just touched that person's life, you know, and that to me is big picture for me.
That's lovely.
So honor your ceremonies, honor your journey, honor who you are as you walk gently on Mother Earth. Yeah, on this earth walk.
Aho.
Oh, I'm going to let you close.
Just light some sage. Ooh. So thank you, brother. Thank you for the open-hearted sharing. Honor the great spirit above, flows through all things. Mother Earth, Father Sky, all the ancestors, honor all creatures, all our relations. And release those that have joined us in this space, and give thanks to all of us, all of those who listened as well. Thank you. Aho Matekwiyasan.
Aho Matekwiyasan.
Thank you. I'll stop it there. Hang on.